Marine permaculture. It's negative emissions climate change science solution, but how can it fit into an overarching global strategy for negative emissions?
The climate system, it's one of complexity. It's constantly changing, and this is down to its internal dynamics. However, external factors have a massive effect too. We call these external factors forcing factors. The climate system is interconnected, but the fact remains that whatever happens, the Earth must create balance.
To make a significant dent in carbon emissions, we are now at a point where reducing our emissions is nowhere near enough. We need to remove it from the atmosphere.
In 2020, there are multiple technologies that concentrate on negative emissions. But are we asking the right questions?
When it comes down to which of these we implement, where we do that, and why. Many arguments for and against negative emissions technologies concentrate on cost of implementation, amount of CO2 sequestered, and amount of land required. But is this a whole systems view? No, not quite. Now more than ever in a global society that is undergoing pressure from economic instability, pandemics, and biodiversity loss, we need to think about how the negative emissions technologies we choose to implement will align with efforts to encourage a societal shift towards living in harmony with the natural world. Dead zones are hypoxic areas of the marine ecosystem with very low concentrations of oxygen. They've quadrupled over the last half a century, increasing CO2 and making it harder for marine animals to respire. One of the main contributors to this is unsustainable agricultural practice, including over-fertilization and polluted water runoff into the ocean. Marine permaculture offers a solution for these problems. Let's have a look at how it all connects.
Marine permaculture involves intentionally growing underwater forest ecosystems that can hold large quantities of CO2, while also providing food and shelter to revive fisheries.
It's a design philosophy that encourages the designer to understand the multiple trophic levels of nature in equilibrium. It's about being in harmony with nature and ecology and building climate resilience through planting, nurturing and diversifying with the intention of restoring and regenerating our oceans and its ecosystems. There are numerous other societal benefits that allow us to view marine permaculture as a circular economy with massive potential for return on investment. 93% of excess heat captured by greenhouse gases ends up in the upper ocean. This has caused massive disruption, including the degradation of coral reefs and seaweed forests. Plankton rely on upwelling for nutrients, and many fish rely on plankton for food. The disruption of the natural upwelling cycle due to climate change has been a major contributor to the collapse of fisheries, which bear the brunt of the most severe heat waves we encounter.
Forests have more capability of drawing CO2 from the atmosphere by area than land-based rainforests do. They help fight climate change, ocean acidification, as well as biomass loss.
Our ocean makes up 71% of our planet. It's a carbon sink that we just can't afford to ignore.
Marine permaculture technology involves a lightweight lattice structure that's about a square kilometre in size. It's placed 25 metres below sea level, where kelp can easily attach to it. Energy from waves is used to pump nutrients from the deeper, cooler waters up to the base of the structure.
As the kelp becomes established, a flourishing ecosystem forms, creating a diverse habitat where forage fish feed off the plankton and where game fish feast off the forage fish. Both plankton and kelp benefit from this situation. This technology could change our oceans for the better. Dead zones could be transformed into large capacity CO2 sequestering ecosystems. There are of course challenges when it comes to marine permaculture: storms, borders and boundaries, investment required, the need for a highly skilled workforce.
But there are also solutions. One of the solutions for this is to create marine permaculture forests in marine protected areas that can be moved, deployed and brought into shore as and when required. But let's not stop there. Marine permaculture can offer so much more. Kelp as a commodity can help boost the economies of marine permaculture communities, helping to provide job opportunities, food security, and the potential for expansion in the form of inshore lakes and waterway permaculture.
Kelp, being a great fertiliser, has the capability of restoring soil structure, improving crop yield and eliminating the need for destructive chemical fertilisers. When used in animal feed, it increases the nutritional density of the food, meaning that cattle don't need to eat as much, and they also produce less methane.
In terms of a systems view, let's not concentrate solely on which negative emissions technology is the best. Let's instead focus on how we can match these existing technologies to the existing environment.
So, instead of reshaping our landscapes, let's allow our existing landscapes to guide us in the choice of what we implement, where, and to what extent. Ultimately, marine permaculture opens the doors for a societal shift from growth and consumption to a zero-waste, pro-social way of living.